All right, today we're going on a bit of a hunt. We're putting together a field guide for a type of professional who is, well, they're incredibly rare, almost invisible, but absolutely critical for your most sensitive missions. We're calling them the corporate snow leopard. And the real question is, are you even ready to find one?
So let's get real for a second. If you're a leader, you've been here. You're staring down a mission that just feels impossible, right? And maybe it's a huge risk you can't quite get your head around, or a brand new market you have to crack, or, one of those super sensitive political situations where one wrong step could just blow everything up. Who do you even call for that? Who do you send in?
Okay, so this really frames the whole problem perfectly. Most of our companies, they're basically corporate zoos, right? We know how to find and manage the usual animals. We've got our lions for leadership, our cheetahs for sales, maybe some elephants for stability. We're good at that. But look over on the right. What about those missions that need something totally different? We're talking rare expertise, extreme discretion, someone who could walk into a hostile environment and not just survive, but thrive. Yeah, for that, you need a completely different kind of animal. You need a snow leopard. So here's the game plan for today. First, we'll talk about why these folks are a different breed entirely. Then, we'll get into what exactly makes up their profile and when you actually need one. After that, it's all about how to find them and, just as important, how to manage them. And we'll wrap up with a little test to see if you're even ready for all this.
Right, first things first. We've got to understand a really crucial point. Your normal hiring process, your standard recruitment playbook, it's all set up for the mainstream. It's great at finding those lions and cheetahs we talked about. But what about those missions? The ones that keep you up at night. They are not mainstream. They need someone who actually thrives in the places where everyone else would just fail.
Okay, so let's get down to it. What exactly is a snow leopard in the business world? Let's break down the anatomy of this high-altitude specialist. And here we have it, the core definition. This is someone with super rare skills who operates with a ton of autonomy and stays way out of the spotlight, especially in tough environments. But honestly, the key to this whole thing is that last part, guided by a strong inner code. This is so important. For them, it's not just a job, it's a mission. And it's a mission they absolutely have to believe in. This slide really gets into their head, into their psychological makeup. Look, these folks are driven by meaning. It's not about the paycheck, it's not about a fancy title. They care about competence and integrity more than anything. They fiercely protect their independence, and yeah, they can seem introverted, but it's not because they're antisocial. They're just very, very selective with their trust. And that last point, it's everything. Earn their respect, and they will be unbelievably loyal. But break that trust, they just vanish. Gone.
All right, so we know what they are. Now for the big question. When do you actually need one? Because let's be clear, you don't just hire a snow leopard to have one on the payroll to look cool. You bring them in when your organization is up against something really specific and really high stakes.
How about this one? Does this sentence hit home? We have one critical risk we don't fully understand. You know that feeling, right? That little nagging thought that there's some threat on the horizon, a signal that's too weak to really make sense of, but you just know it's important? That, right there, is snow leopard territory.
Or maybe it's this scenario. Your very survival depends on staying ahead of threats that most people can't even see yet. It's about innovating on the absolute frontier, seeing around corners, and predicting those shifts that could literally make or break your company. For that, you need someone who isn't just okay with uncertainty, they're comfortable living in it. This table lays it out perfectly. It basically comes down to 4 key situations. You've got a high-stakes risk. Think cybersecurity, a big investigation. You need their discretion and focus. You're pushing into frontier innovation. You need someone who thrives in uncertainty. You're tackling difficult geographies or markets. You need their adaptability and quiet networking skills. And for those really sensitive missions, you need that rare mix of emotional intelligence, discretion, and big-picture strategic thinking.
Okay, so you've decided you need one. Now what? How do you actually find a snow leopard? Well, I'll give you a hint. They're not handing out resumes at a career fair. This is a totally different kind of hunt, and it all starts with how you interview them.
So you're in the interview. Forget your standard checklist of competencies. That's not the goal here. Your goal is to test 4 key things. 1, their relationship with risk, secrecy, and pressure. 2, can they actually move between high-level strategy and getting their hands dirty? 3, what is their internal code? What are their hard lines they will not cross? And 4, and this is so important,
How do they stay sane? How do they avoid burning out in these insane environments?
And check out this question. This is a fantastic example. Tell me about a time you were close to your personal limits. How did you know? What did you do? See what's happening here? You're not asking about a win or a loss. You're digging for self-awareness, for resilience. You do not want a hero who tells you they'll burn themselves out for the mission. No. You're looking for a professional who knows their limits and knows how to recover. That's the person who can actually last.
Okay, let's say you did it. You found one, you hired them, congratulations. But attracting them, that's only half the battle. Once they're on your team, your job completely changes. It's not about management anymore. It's about something more like conservation. You have to care for this rare talent.
Those first 90 days are absolutely critical. In the first month, it's all about context and trust. Don't give them the shiny corporate brochure. Give them the real story, the politics, the old skeletons, what really happened. Then, in the second month, you give them their first real missions, but you do it carefully, with clear allies and goals. By the third month, you have to be ready to listen to what they've found and adjust their mission accordingly. You have to protect their altitude, their ability to see the big picture.
So how do you keep them? What makes them stay? Well, it's not foosball tables and free snacks. It's the real stuff. They need real, meaningful missions. They need you to protect them from the internal political nonsense. They need high autonomy to do their work. They need to know they're respected in the right circles. And this is a big one. They need downtime. They need to be able to cycle between periods of high intensity and real recovery.
And on the flip side, here's how you lose them. It's pretty simple, actually. You politicize their mission, or ask them to lie. You expose them publicly without their permission. You use them as a scapegoat when things go wrong. You drown them in useless bureaucracy, or you just burn them out without ever letting them recover. These aren't just pet peeves. For a snow leopard, these are absolute deal breakers. It violates their entire code.
And when they're done, there are only two ways it goes. Option one, they just leave. Quietly. No big exit interview, no drama. They're just gone. Option two, and honestly, this is often way worse, they stay physically, but they check out mentally. They become a ghost walking your hallways. All that rare talent, completely wasted.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the snow leopard test. Before you even think about starting this hunt, you have to look in the mirror and ask a very honest question. Is my organization actually ready for this? So here's question number one. Are you willing to give them real autonomy, real trust, and real protection? I'm not talking about a fancy title. Anyone can do that. I mean, are you actually prepared to give them the space they need to work? Are you willing to be their shield against the internal politics they need to stay away from?
And here's the second big one. Do you have leaders who can handle the truth? I mean, really handle it, especially when it's uncomfortable. Because the whole point of a snow leopard is to see the things nobody else sees and tell you about it. If your culture is one that shoots the messenger, well, then you are definitely not ready. And make no mistake about it, the cost of getting this wrong is huge. It's not just that you lose a good employee. When you mishandle talent like this, they walk out the door taking critical knowledge, deep insights, and all the trusted networks they built right along with them. The damage to your organization can be massive.
Which leaves us with this one powerful final warning. It's brutally simple. If he can't provide the right environment, just don't hire a snow leopard. Don't even start looking, because you won't just fail, you'll actually damage a rare and valuable person in the process. So the question isn't just, can you find a snow leopard? The real question is, do you deserve one?